This is TWiT.
While we're on the topic of Russian antics, get a load of this. One of the 0 days, it was CVE 2024 43451 that Microsoft patched this past week was, in Patch Tuesday last week, was used in a Russian hack of Ukrainian organizations earlier this year. According to the security firm ClearSky, the 0 day was part of an exploit chain that exposed NT Landman, NT Land Manager credential hashes, also known as NTLM, credential hashes, when victims interacted with .url files that were received in phishing emails. But here's the part that really caught my attention. ClearSky said that right-clicking, deleting, or moving the file established a connection with the attacker's server, exposing authentication data. The report suggests that the campaign also used social engineering to convince victims to run executables. Okay, but hold on. Right-clicking on a file to display its context menu and examine its properties, deleting it or dragging it to another directory was all that's needed to cause the victim's machine to establish a remote connection to a malicious server? What? So I went over to ClearSky to see what was up, and I've got a link in the show notes for anyone who wants to see too. The ClearSky research team posted their write-up last Wednesday, writing a new 0 day vulnerability, CVE. Oh, by the way, it was posted Wednesday because the patches were pushed on Tuesday, the day before, closing this down. They said a new 0 day vulnerability, 43451.
Ironically, ClearSky Securities sent an invalid response. I don't know if it's blocked or it can't provide a secure connection. So it might be my browser. Sometimes this happens.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think
maybe
that's just me,
maybe do an do an explicit HTTPS.
Yeah, no, because I think the Ubiquity blocks certain things. I don't know
okay.
why. Yeah.
So
I was just clicking the link you provided.
Yeah. Let me try clicking it here.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fine. It's just me. Yeah, I also have that from Safari.
Yep. It just came right up for me.
Yeah, so it's Ubiquity. I've noticed this. There's certain places I can't go, and I think it's the security. I do use security on the Ubiquity.
Oh.
So.
Okay, so they wrote a new 0 day vulnerability 43451 was discovered by ClearSky Cybersecurity in June of this year, 2024. This vulnerability affects Windows systems and is being actively exploited in attacks against Ukrainian entities. The vulnerability activates URL files containing malicious code through seemingly innocuous actions. Then they have 3 bullet points. First, a single right-click on the file in all Windows systems will do this. Deleting the file in Windows 10 or 11 will do this. Dragging the file to another folder in Windows 10 or 11 and some Windows 7, 8, and 8.1, they wrote. The malicious URL files were, and I should note that a URL file is just text, so it's kind of pushing it to call it malicious, but okay.
It's just a link.
It's just, it looks like an INI file. So they wrote the malicious URL files were disguised as academic certificates and were initially observed being distributed from a compromised official Ukrainian government website. What actually happened was that the Russians compromised an email server in Ukraine and then used the email server's credentials to send, DKIM, SPF, DMARC approved email to others in Ukraine. So the email that was coming in looked like it was verifiably authentic from the compromised server, but in fact, unfortunately, it was phishing email. So they said the attack begins with a phishing email sent from a compromised Ukrainian government server. The email prompts the recipient to renew their academic certificate. The email contains a malicious URL file. When the user interacts with the URL file by right-clicking, deleting, or moving it, the vulnerability is triggered. So I'll just say this is the first time I've seen that, dragging a file and dropping it in the trash or right-clicking to learn more about it. That's all it takes under Windows 10 and 11 in order to, and right-clicking in all versions of Windows in order for this thing to happen. Anyway, I've got more details. So they said, when the user interacts with a URL file by right-clicking, deleting, or moving it, the vulnerability is triggered. This action establishes a connection with the attacker's server and downloads further malicious files, including SparkRat malware. SparkRat is an open-source remote access Trojan that allows the attacker to gain control of the victim's system. The attackers also employed techniques to maintain persistence on the infected system, ensuring their access even after a reboot.
Hey, it's Leo Laporte. I hope you've enjoyed this little snippet from Security Now. If you want the whole show, you can get it at our website, twit.tv/SN. Of course, you can subscribe to Security Now on your favorite podcast, or just click one of the links below. Security Now.